services across their platforms. Even have a live demo comparing OpenStack's dashboard with the VMware Center. So this session will run about 60 minutes. We will have a live Q&A towards the end. So feel free to drop your questions in the chat anytime. And this webinar is being recorded. So we'll share the recording afterwards. All the attendees will going to receive a free OpenStack assessment and a complimentary ebook as a token of our appreciation. So let's get started. I'd like to introduce our speakers for today. Our speakers today are Ariane and Sang, who bring extensive experience in cloud infrastructure and have helped enterprises successfully migrate from VMware to OpenStack. Please join me in welcoming Ariane. Ariane?
Thank you, Radhika. Hold on, let me share my screen first. Can you guys see it?
Yes.
All right. Okay. Okay. All right. Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to today's webinar, OpenStack Fundamentals, a guide for VMware Administrator. Again, my name is Yan, and I'm a project consultant at Akrits. And just to give you a background, I've been working in cloud computing and virtualizations for, I guess, a couple of years already. And it's an exciting time in IT, right? Wherein cloud technology is really evolving fast, and OpenStack is becoming a critical part of that transformations. And I heard many of you are from different areas in IT, and most of you are actually VMware administrators. So I guess this session is really a right or really prepared for all of you VMware administrators, wherein you might be wondering, why should I learn OpenStacks? Well, the reality is organizations are shifting towards open source solutions to gain more flexibility, right? Also avoid vendor lock-in and cut cost. And OpenStack is actually a powerful alternative that integrates with VMware, also allowing you to expand your expertise and future-proof your career in terms of a cloud computing. And today's sessions will try to break down how OpenStack compares to VMware, also try to explore its key components, also try to discuss how you can seamlessly integrate it into your existing infrastructure. So whether you're just starting with OpenStack or looking to deepen your knowledge, these sessions will definitely give you the insights of what you're looking for. Okay. So now before we start, let's compare OpenStack and VMware. But before that, maybe we can define what OpenStack and VMware are. So OpenStack is an open source cloud computing platform that allows organizations to build and manage private and public clouds, whereas VMware also provides a comprehensive suite of tools and solutions for managing and deploying virtual machines and cloud infrastructures. So the key differences is that VMware is actually a proprietary commercial solutions with a focus on virtualizations, while OpenStack is an open source alternative that provides more flexibility. Also, VMware, when it comes to licensing cost, can be a concern. And I think a lot of us can really relate to that. Whereas OpenStack, since it's an open source, so it's free to use, but it requires more expertise in terms of the setup and the way you manage it. Also, OpenStack allows greater customization and works well with various hypervisors and containerized applications, whereas VMware is more integrated but with vendor lock-in. So I guess many of you, I'd like to know how many of you have explored OpenStack before, whether you just read about it or you have tested it in your lab or even deploying it in your production. So maybe we would like to see a hand. Maybe you can type in the chat yes if you have experience deploying an OpenStack, or no if you are completely new to it, so that we would love to know about that. Now, moving on, there are several benefits to using OpenStack. First, it's cost-effective, right? Since it eliminates the expensive licensing fees. Second, it also offers a high scalability, making it ideal for enterprises that needs to grow their infrastructure dynamically. Third, it's also vendor neutral, as what I've mentioned earlier, meaning you are not tied to any specific vendor or provider. And finally, since it's an open source, it has a strong community support with thousands of developers contributing to its ongoing improvement. And I think with the recent acquisition of Broadcoms, right, if you heard about it, that they recently acquired the VMware, that's why there's really an uncertainty around what will be the future pricing or the licensing cost. That's why we got a lot of inquiries from different industries coming from a VMware infrastructures that are now looking for some alternatives, which is quite, more cheaper than what they need to pay for to sustain their VMware infrastructure. So I guess this is really the right time for you to explore that one. And OpenStack is one of the solutions that many companies now are looking for. Now, let's break down the key components of OpenStack. So OpenStack is made of several core services, as you can see in your screen. Keystone is for identity management, while Neutron for networking, Nova for compute, while Cinder and Swift for storage, and Horizon for the dashboard. So each of these services plays a crucial role in managing the cloud environment efficiently. So later on during the live demo, you will see that all of these components are being used when we deploy our virtual machine. So you would see all of these components later when we do the live demo. Now, to make things easier, I think let's have a comparison of OpenStack components to VMware counterparts. So we all know that, again, Nova is the one responsible for provisioning the virtual machines, right? Just like the ESXi hypervisor does in VMware. So when it comes to storage, we do have the Cinder, wherein Cinder manages the block storage similar to the vSAN, while the Swift provides the object storage capabilities. And when it comes to networking, Neutron enables the software-defined networking or the SDN. And similar to VMware, we do also have the NSX. And when it comes to management and authentication, Keystone handles the identity services, while Horizon serves as the graphical user interface or the GUI, similar to the vCenters that we have in your VMware infrastructure. Now, when it comes to the cloud orchestration or the Heat versus the VMware, so in OpenStack, we have the Heat, which automates the cloud infrastructure deployment, versus in VMware, it's the VMware vCloud Director, which is the counterpart of the Heat in OpenStack. So if you do have clarification or questions, feel free also to chat them in our chat box so that we can also answer them at the end of the session or during our question and answer portion. Okay. All right, moving on, I guess, since knowing all the components, the mapping, how we can integrate VMware with your OpenStack, right? I think one of the questions that most of our VMware admin will ask is that how can we do the migration successfully? So when migrating from VMware to OpenStack or any cloud platform, there are actually some considerations, and we've identified three key areas to consider. Number one, technical considerations. So this involves evaluating system compatibility, also data integrity and potential challenges. Um, um, when it comes to integration, especially on the legacy system, right, into OpenStack, we need to ensure that there's a seamless transition of workloads while addressing storage, networking, and compute differences is very crucial. Second consideration would be the operational thing, where migration impacts the daily operations, and we must have a plan to minimize downtime. Of course, as much as possible, we wanted to avoid any disruptions from the operations and also ensure that there's always a business continuity when we do the migration part. And I think the most important one is developing a structured migration plan, testing workloads beforehand, and having a rollback strategy are critical for success. And lastly, of course, organizational consideration, where beyond any technology, right, a successful migration requires stakeholder buy-in. So before we can even deploy any of this, we need to buy in our stakeholders, get them approval, and have the proper change management in place. And also training VMware admins on OpenStack, ensuring skilled personnel are available, and maintaining transparent communication will lead to a smoother transition. So those are the considerations that we need to take in for us to have a smooth migration for your OpenStack deployment. Now, this image actually highlights some of the real world, OpenStack use cases, showcasing how major global companies leverage OpenStack to their cloud infrastructures. And this use cases actually prove that OpenStack is not just about, tech companies, but it's being adopted across industries like gaming, telecom, retail, social media, and even finance. So whether you're looking to cut costs, improve performance, or scale dynamically, OpenStack has a solution for you. And if there's anything here, any of the use cases here that you think suitable for your organization, so definitely we wanted to sit down with you and try to understand more your requirements so that we can discuss that further. All right, so now that we've covered the key migration considerations and strategies for transitioning from VMware to OpenStack, I also wanted to introduce you to the right partner to help you make the transition seamless, which is Acret. So at Acret, we specialize in cloud transformation, helping businesses migrate from traditional VMware environments to OpenStack with minimal risk and maximum efficiency. So whether you're looking to reduce cost, licensing cost, avoid vendor lock-in, and also wanted to adopt a hybrid cloud approach, our team is here to guide you in every step of the way. So just a little bit of a background of who we are. So we founded in 2013 and our team has over 100 years of added experience. And we are based in Singapore and is actively expanding to China and India. We also do have our presence in various parts of Singapore when it comes to the data center. And we're also SAP certified partner, Oracle Gold partner, and a Nutanix partner too. Now, moving on, of course, transitioning to OpenStack does come with the challenges, right? And the learning curve can be steep. So investing in training is very essential. Proper support, whether from a vendor-backed distribution or, a strong internal team is critical for success. And I guess selecting the right partner again for your OpenStack deployment is very important. So here's what Acret set us apart. So our cloud specialists have extensive experience with VMware to OpenStack migration, ensuring a seamless transition. We also help businesses optimize their cloud cost while maintaining top-tier performance. Also, our phase when it comes to the migration approach ensures that there's always a business continuity in place. And whether you're looking to maintain a VMware alongside with the OpenStack or integrate with public clouds, we can actually provide you with a tailored solutions for that. So depending on your requirements. Now, lastly, our team offers an end-to-end support, ensuring your IT staff is fully equipped with managed OpenStack effectively. Now, in terms of our approach to migration, so it's designed to fit your business needs. So we start with an in-depth assessment of your VMware workloads, identifying the best migration strategy. We can even provide or implement a proof of concept, allowing you to test OpenStack in a controlled environment. So once you have tested it, so we can execute the full migration with try to help you to optimize it as well, ensuring that your new infrastructure is robust and efficient and that it meets your requirements when we do the full deployment. Now, again, so if you're ready to take the next step, Acret is here to help. So here's how we can get started. So you can see in your screen, there's a QR code. So feel free to scan those, or later on we can share this one as well so that we can get a free scheduled consultation with you. So if you're planning to have your existing infra or trying to look for some alternatives and wanted to explore OpenStack, we can help you assess your current environment. So whether you're also coming from a VMware environment, that would be good as well, and we can help you discuss your migration goals, and we can even also like provide you with a step-by-step roadmap tailored to your business needs. So in terms of the migration plan, we can actually help you customize it based on your needs. Okay, so now with that, now that we've explored the fundamentals of OpenStack, I think it's time to see it in action. So instead of me just talking about, all of these details, information which you can actually like find, over the internet, I guess this is this session is actually made for us to show you how OpenStack works in a real world environment. So with that, I'd like to introduce to you to our cloud engineer, Sang, who's a cloud expert with OpenStack and cloud infrastructure. He also helped businesses deploy and optimize OpenStack environments. And today he will walk us through a hands-on demo where he will demonstrate a live action on deploying a virtual machine, managing networks, scaling resources, etc. So if you have questions also during the demo, feel free to drop them in the chat and we'll address them at the end of the session. So without further ado, I'd like to take over it to Sang to take us through to the live demo. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Yen. So, hi everyone, I'm Sang and I'm currently the cloud engineer at Ascri. I will walk you through a live demo so that you can understand more about what OpenStack is and how it can do. Okay, so first let me share my screen. Can you guys see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, let me revise a bit about what Jan had mentioned about this OpenStack component. So let's imagine that you have a virtual machine. Then what are composed of a virtual machine? First of all, you need the CPU and memory, and that's called compute. The compute part will handle by the service, the OpenStack service called Nova. And when you have CPU and memory, you need some this hard drive to store your data. It will be called storage, and that storage is handled by an OpenStack component called Cinder on the left here. On the right here. And so now you got a virtual machine, but you are isolated to the world. You cannot connect to other. So in order to connect to other, you need network, and that network part handled by the neutral service. And all of them are handled on OpenStack platform, and we can either use the command line or we can use a UI, a web UI called Horizon. This is also a dashboard that's supported, that created by OpenStack. Uh, so let me try to show you what is the. So this is OpenStack dashboard. Okay. And then currently, you didn't see any service, any request here because I just delete any instance. This is a brand new one. And so in OpenStack, we have the concept of project. But by project, I mean that you can divide, for example, a department for specific project. And in this project, the resources are isolated to each other. For example, we have two department called HR and another department called R&D, and you can create one project for HA and one project for R&D, and these virtual machine here are isolated to each other, so we can calculate the cost and other stuff based on that specific department. And so in this example, you can see that I already created one project called department one here, and in order to create a user, it's quite straightforward. We can either use the web UI here, or we can use the command line. Let us show you using the command line. So let me log in. In here, that is the place that I installed the whole OpenStack platform, and all of them are containerized at microservice. By microservice, I mean that there's more service for each command. So if I list the service here, you will see that for the Cinder service, there are 4 more microservice for that Cinder. And for example, the Neutron one, and the same for Nova and other stuff. They are divided into smaller set, and each service had their specific role and their specific responsibility. And as you can see that we are in control of all of what service handlers here. So let me show you As you can see that we have an admin project that I saw on the screen, another project called department 1, and there's an internal project called server that's for this server. So for example, I will demo that how you can create a user. Basically, you can just user app, and let's say user create, and then you can try the name. Let's say user01 and enter password. Okay, put it from. So I will put ABC123. Okay. After you have the user, you can assign that to specific project by using the row add command. Add the user user01 here to the project F1 at UC, and with row member, for example. And after that, the user can try to log in. Let me open the incognito tab here. So 01 ABC123, and let me sign in. And then you see that because this user belong to the project F1 here, so it cannot see other project. You see, they can only manage within their project. Okay, so that's it for the create user. And let's come to the interesting part, is the create an actual virtual machine. So currently, there is no virtual machine yet. And before you create a virtual machine, there is something that you need to repair. First of all, you need to repair the image. By image, you can either download the review image on the internet. Let me show you how to download. You can search for example, Ubuntu cloud image. Click here, and there are many distro of Ubuntu. Let's say that we want to pick the Ubuntu 2022. And in this one, you can see that there is many one, but try to pick the one with the format VCal. That is format VCal or format Pro. I think that both of them are good. But in this case, I think we have VCal here, and VCal cloud image. So this one, AMD64 VCal. Yeah, I think this one. We can AMD64, and when you download to your machine, then you can try to upload it here. You can use the command line at UC. At what I have done that using the command line here, or you can upload directly using this one. I already have upload for you. It's around 600 megabyte. And first of all, you need the image. This image is you can think the image is like a static virtual machine that it doesn't have any I/O. It's just a template, and then you can use that template to create your virtual machine. That's the first step. The second one, you need to create the network. I also have created one network for you. You can pick any network you want, and they are all isolated. And on the subnet detail, you can specify that how the CB should allocate your IP. So we have the net one here. Okay, and the last one is you need to create the flavor. So what is flavor? Flavor is set up CPU and memory. So let's say that how much CPU and how much memory that you want to allocate for your virtual machine is the specification of your virtual machine. Let's check for the flavor. Currently, I have two flavor. This is the flavor name, and you can see the actual spec here. So for example, the 2X2 will have 2 CPU and 2 gigabyte of RAM. And I think other stuff you can ignore it. Mainly, we can focus on the CPU and RAM. The disk and other stuff is created is handled by other server. So I create a 2x2 here, and so we have flavor. And now, before you create a VM, you need to create a volume. So you go to the volume, you click create. Let's say the volume 01, and pick the volume source here. The volume source will be from our image that we uploaded. To image, pick the Chami server clouding one, and pick the size for the volume. Okay, now click create. So when we click create, it will call to the Cinder server, and behind the scene, the storage and other component is working below here in order to create that volume. Let me try to create another one. Volume 02 image. Actually, I want to create this one using the command line. So you volume list here. You see we have one volume that downloading status. I mean it downloading from the image store to Cinder. So let's image list to see the image that we have. So instead of using the UI, we can use the command line to actually create the volume. Create let's volume 02 from the image here with the size unvalid. I think that's just 15. Default value is the gigabyte. And volume list. So yeah, so the first volume is available and the second one is downloading. If you refresh the page here, you will see it. So let's create. So all of things are in place. Now let's create our first virtual machine. You can launch here. You okay. Run an instance. So let's say that let's say VM01 description, set this one at default. You can pick two, and so this is the source that where you want to create this volume form, and in here we set that. Let's go to the volume 01 and create that virtual machine. On the favor, we need to pick the one that we want. For example, here we have two X2 here, 2 CPU and 2 GB, and the network block we can ignore, because when we pick the network, it automatically allocate IP for us. About the security group, it is the same idea. Actually the security group is the concept in the cloud platform. Basically, it looks like a firewall that you can specify that whether your inbound, the ingress one, egress traffic will allow on which port. Currently, I allow on. That means they can connect to anywhere and they can receive traffic from anywhere. For the key pair here, key pair is when you create user, you can create your key pair as well. Key pair is the public key, and when you create, it will automatically inject your public key into the server. There is the interesting part. It is the customization script, and this script we can inject during the boot time of that virtual machine. So when the virtual machine is finished created, it can run. I mean that before finish, it will run all our script defined here. There's some use case that we can use it. For example, we can set a password, or we can inject that which software or service we want to install before that virtual machine finish. And so later we don't need to log into the virtual machine and install again. So in this case, I will make a testing one that you can basically it will set the password for the default user of that image. Let's say ABC03 easy, yeah. the server group concept is used for affinity and anti-affinity. What is affinity and what is anti-affinity? Affinity means that, so for some server you want all of them run on a same host to reduce the network latency, then you can apply the affinity policy. And in reverse case, sometimes you want your virtual machine distributed among the different server. You don't want to all of them run on the same physical one, then you apply the anti-affinity for the server group. On this one, I think that just some more information. We can leave it at default. So let's create one. And on the volume 2 also available. You can create the volume here, or you can using the command line, or you can create the virtual machine in this tab. So let's use this tab. The UI will be the same. 02. Let's say, okay, here we need to pick that we want to put from the volume. Okay, there is some other option like put directly from the image volume. Pick a volume favor. Yeah, you can pick this one. Network. And okay, let me set the same password. Okay, it's putting will take some time. So when we send the request here, it first come to the Nova server, and then the Nova will call to the Cinder server to attaching that volume into the virtual machine, and then the Nova server also call to the Neutron one to plug the network board into that virtual machine. Everything happened behind the scene, and as you can see that we have full control on which command is running here. Okay, so let's see our first VM. On this UI, it have an overview that it run on which physical one, and will favor the network, the security group, the image. This could be the board of the VM. You see that this is an IP of that network. There will boot log will show here, and that we have also the console feature for OpenStack. What is console? It is like VMware console. That so for example, by some mistake that you have turned off the network and you cannot log in via edit, then you can use the console one. So Ubuntu ABC 103. Yeah, and for security, it asks us to change. To change the current one. Lucky. Return new password. Okay, let me again. Ubuntu ABC 103. 3 ABC 1234. Okay, you will see that we have the VM here. If you check the IP, you see that it will automatically assign the IP that match with the outside that we can see. And if we check the for its memory, you see that this use the favor 2x2 that we have only 2 GB in memory. And this CPU, you will see that it has 2 virtual CPU here, 2 core. So let's go back here, and you will see that that is for VM1. On the VM2, you will see the IP 192.168.1.136. So let's try to bring that one. Yeah, and it got response because that VM is on a network. And if we turn up this one, also there's many more options here. I don't want to go through any of them, but you get an idea that we have many similar feature to VMware. For example, you want to attach the interface, detect the interface, add more volume, and add the security group to the server, view logs, and stuff. Let me set up this one. And after setup, it will set up. You will see that it's disconnected and we cannot bring it anymore. Okay, so so that's the basic workflow. Of course, there are many other features that in this OpenStack platform, but I cannot explain all of them in just one section. So hopefully we meet again and we can see how Acri can help you on the migration to this OpenStack platform where you have full control of your resources, full control of your server, all of them here. Okay, and I will leave this one for Jan to continue. Hey Jan.
All right. Thank you, Sang. I think back to Radhika, our host.
That was fantastic, Gisang. Hope you enjoyed the demo. Now we have a clearer picture of how OpenStack works. Hope is anybody wants to share something on the chat. We are always open for our Q&A section as well. So if anybody has some questions, please drop the questions in the Q&A board or the chat. And we are going to move towards our next round, which is Q&A section. And I hope our director, Tangyo, would be able to answer the questions for you guys. We have our first question here. So what authentication and identity management solution exist in the OpenStack compared to vCenter SSO?
Okay, maybe I can take that one, Radhika. So I think that's one of the items that I have explained earlier in my presentation. So yeah, I think regarding the authentication and identity management, so we do have the Keystone, right? Keystone is OpenStack's identity service managing user authentication, multi-tenancy, and roles. I think based on what Sang showed us earlier, you can actually like make different projects, different department, which is isolated to each other so that you can still identify which project are you working on. And then while the vCenter, vCenter SSO or the single sign-on is the one handles the identity management for the VMware product. So that's that two components, so the Keystone for OpenStack and the vCenter SSO is the counterpart in the VMware products. But the both authentication actually provide centralized authentication. So Keystone supports more authentication compared to vCenter in terms of the back end. So you can have like LDAP, you can also have the OAuth or the open authentication, open ID, etc. So yeah, I hope I answered the question.
Thank you, Yan. We have another question. Why do you want to create projects? What are the benefits? Sang, would you like to take this question?
So as you see from the demo, I mentioned that that we can use project to isolate the resource. For example, you want to see that for HR department, how much CPU and memory that they use for their workload. And for example, on another department, you can see that how much resource that they actually use it. And maybe that is used for the internal billing and internal cost, something like that. So we will have better control on our organization resource structure. And of course, if you want to, I mean that for the whole company with many several departments, if you want to use one single project, it's also fine. There's nothing wrong with it. But if you want to more fine-grained permission and fine-grained resource control, then I recommend that you should create a project. And that's it for the private cloud. If you want to use, I think that not normally we are used for the private cloud. But if you are the cloud provider, you want to publish your cloud to external customer, then on each client you can create a separate project for them. So
Okay.
I hope that answer your question.
Okay. So the next question is, can I ask what are the common deployment method for OpenStack?
There's many of them, and the common one is using the thing called Cola Ansible. But basically, that is a community Ansible playbook that config all of the service, and we need to adjust the configuration file, and then run it, and everything will be in issue and error. But you should have a knowledge about the Linux, about the network, about the Ansible in order to effectively deploy it. So I hope that answers your question.
Okay.
How the whole tech handle availability and scalability? I think that this actually the good question. I think that let me try to share my screen. So give me 1 second. Okay. Screen one. Okay, can you see my screen?
Yes.
Okay. So I will try to draw a bit for you to easily understand. So in the demo, I showed you that the OpenStack server is break down into the smaller microserver, and by that you have full control on which server run on which server, and you can scale it as well. Or OpenStack running at the REST API. I hope that you already heard about that terminology. REST API, that means when you call an HTTP request to a server, and they will get a HTTP response for you. And for example, so in this demo, I just show you that we have only one. So let's say this is one thing called controller, and another thing that you can see that this is Nova Compute. So the controller will contain all the control plan stuff like database, API handling, and scheduler and thing. And on the Nova Compute here is where our virtual machine actually run on. So you can think the Nova Compute is like the ASI in the VMware, and so for high availability on a controller, you can just add more controller. And in front of them, you should have a thing called load balancer. So when the traffic from the internet or from client call into it, from load balancer, it will distributed evenly between all three controller here. So that's it for the high availability for the controller node. And about scalability, if you want more resource, you can just add more compute node here. So let's think that we have a lot of compute node, and each compute node will contain our actual virtual machine on here. And you may ask that, so what if compute node got die? For example, this node he has some CPU issue and just crash, and we cannot start it. So how can our virtual machine data can be persist, right? Actually, behind the scene, you can recall that we have the Cinder server, and that Cinder will support many storage backend. One of the good interaction with OpenStack is called safe storage. So the next one here. So you can say that we have the safe pool storage, and all of the virtual machine data will store in here. So you can think the safe pool storage is like the data store in VMware, and the the data actually stored in here. For example, this VM running here, and in safe storage, we can specify the replication factor. Replication factor. By replication factor, I mean that you want how many copy of your data is it on the safe cluster. If you specify one, this means there is no data redundancy. But if you specify two, it means that when, for example, if your data is stored in here, it also have another copy somewhere on let's say on another place in the safe storage here, and so data, and even if you, it's even better if you set it at 3, so data will replicate it into 3 places. And so let's get back to the, when the case that a Nova compute die, then basically you just recreate your virtual machine here on a new Nova compute, because all of the data is stored in the safe storage, so your data is still there, and we can just relay this one into a better one. So that's it for the scalability and for HA. I hope that this answer what you asked. I know the timeline for migration. Okay. The timeline for migration actually it will depend to your current infrastructure. So you usually the migration step will be look like this. First of all, you need to export your VMDK file, because all of the VM on vCenter is running at the VMDK format block storage. So first you need to export it, and then you need to convert that VMDK, convert it into vCloud or into the raw format. This format in the step cluster, and then we will put up a new virtual machine. First of all, let imagine this one is the one that we want to migrate. We put it up, we create a volume with the same size, of the original virtual machine. And for example, your original virtual machine is 100 gigabyte, then you need to create the new virtual machine on OpenStack with the 100 gigabyte, and it will create the 100 gigabyte of block device below here on the safe cluster, and then we will import. This step will be import the raw file that we convert on the step 2 here into the safe cluster, and after that you just need to boot up the virtual machine and reconfigure the network, and everything will be there. With there is some problem with the old operating system. For example, if you're using the CNOS version 5 or CNOS version 6, is very old one, and they may missing some driver. So we need to manually open the console and reinstall the missing driver in order for it to run rapidly. Okay. Yeah, if you had any question, don't afraid to ask.
There is another question, like, can we automate deployments in OpenStack like we do in VMware vSphere?
Yes, I mentioned there is a tool called Colan Sipo, and All you need is just add a new host name into the inventory file and run the playbook, and everything will be automatically installed for you. So it will install all of the container that you see here, and after that, when it install this container, it will have the configuration file to talk to your controller, and it automatically discovered by the controller and added into the pool. So the step is quite automated. Or you need to define your new physical server into the inventory file and run a playbook.
Okay. So the next question is, how do organizations typically manage OpenStack support and maintenance?
Support and maintenance. How to manage OpenStack support? Can you clarify on the question? I mean that what specific maintenance that you are mentioning here?
I think let me take that on. I think in terms of course, organizations typically manage OpenStack support and maintenance in several ways, depending on their resources, expertise, and business needs, right? So I think having the right partner, I guess earlier I've mentioned, OpenStack is actually, a free open source and everyone can try it. But the challenging part is that you need to have an expert to help you set up and manage it, because that portion is quite the challenge part. So I think what Sang showed us today, um if we look at it, it's quite simple, but it's actually not. So it's really require, some expertise. And when it comes to like support, I guess, yeah, having the right partner, having the partner should have like the expert when it comes to OpenStack support, which Acrets has. So we actually have a 24/7 dedicated support who can actually help customers in terms of their deployment. We can even customize and optimize depending on the requirements of the customers when it comes to their OpenStack deployment to fit specific business needs. And we can also optimize cloud performance, storage, and network for better efficiency. So when it comes to like having, who to go to when it comes to OpenStack deployment, I think, yeah, Akrits can help on that.
That's great. I think one more question and then we can wind up the session. So, are there any hybrid solutions where VMware and OpenStack can run together during the migration period?
Radhika, I can probably take that.
Okay.
Yeah. So hi, Sharon. Basically, if you are looking at migrating from VMware to OpenStack, actually it's pretty simple. Depending on the application that you're running on. Obviously, if you have application that don't have a lot of log, yeah, you could do what Sang just mentioned, changing from VMDK to QCOW, and then after that, you just import it in your OpenStack. Okay. During the migration, of course, you have databases. What we usually suggest is, like, for example, you have Oracle, right? Then we will set up log shipping. That means basically you have your VMware running and your OpenStack running. After we do a first conversion from VMDK to QCOW, then we set up the log shipping in Oracle. So in a way, your infra can always be up all the time. I mean, probably a little bit of downtime, but not much, right? Database and all that, we can do the migration using so-called log shipping. Yep. Hope it answers the question. So it's quite seamless. We have done many already. It's quite seamless, migration process from VMware to OpenStack. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you, Tivar. So we have covered a lot today, from OpenStack's core architecture to its practical advantages over VMware. And we have also seen the dashboard in action. So if you are considering migrating to OpenStack or want to explore more, our team at Agreeds will be happy to help you. As a thank you for joining us for today, we are offering all attendees a free OpenStack assessment for your how to check the readiness of your company, and a complimentary ebook to help you better understand your migration journey. You will get the access on your emails. If you have any further questions after the webinar, don't worry, we are keeping a Q&A window open for 5 days, so feel free to reach out with us with any kind of follow-ups. On behalf of entire team at Agreeds, I want to thank you all for the time and engagement today. We appreciate your participation and we look forward to stay connecting with you. Thank you so much, and keep an eye on your inbox for the recording and additional resources. Have a fantastic day ahead.